Our doctors sometimes call them the three old diseases. And what are those? That's hypertension, diabetes, and heart disease. Hello again and welcome to New Life Show on AUK Radio. I'm your host, Yinka. This is the show where we talk about all things health and well-being and everything else in between. Now, this show, what we do is to provide you information for general purposes only. We do not prescribe, neither do we diagnose, nor do we claim to cure any ailments whatsoever. So please, if you're considering making some changes to your lifestyle, especially with some of the suggestions we make about healthy lifestyle on this show, do speak to your healthcare provider in the first instance. So that being said, let's get on with today's show. So when you hear the trio diseases, I've mentioned hypertension, diabetes, and heart disease. They're quite common, but it doesn't mean they're inevitable. And yet, many of us are walking around with these conditions totally unaware until something serious happens. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you know your number? Do you know your blood pressure? Do you know your sugar level? And do you know your cholesterol number? Now, I'm not talking about me. I'm not talking from reading medical journals. And yes, I do read some scientific research. But I'm also talking about one in particular one of these diseases, diabetes, because it's close to home. Diabetes. Now, my own mother, nearly 90, was able to reverse, and some people say remission, diabetes in her 70s. Yes, you heard that right, in her 70s. And how did she do this? Healthy lifestyle habits, which she incorporated, and she still continues until today. So she's been off all medication, and she's living a healthy, strong life. She'll soon be 90, so if she can do it, anyone can do it. Now, let's start with hypertension. Often known as the silent killer because, one, you don't always feel unwell, don't show symptoms. Meanwhile, there are damages happening to your heart, to your kidney, and to your brain. Talking about kidney, I have an exciting episode coming up. We're going to be talking all things kidney health, so do stay tuned and watch not just this episode alone, but all of the other ones that we put on our page. So according to the World Health Organization, 1 in 4 adults worldwide have high blood pressure. That's 1.3 billion people in the world. And here is the worrying part of these statistics. Only 1 in 5 of these people actually are able or do control their blood pressure. So we're saying 4 out of 5 people are living with uncontrolled blood pressure. Now, this is a bomb waiting to just go off, isn't it? That's a huge number. In our community, in the African, Caribbean community, the rates are even higher. It's 3 times higher for people in our community. And the question is why? Obviously, there are various reasons why. We look at our genes, yes. However, like the saying, genetics load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. Meaning there are modifiable lifestyles, that is things that we have control over, that we can change to help reduce the risk of diabetes, hypertension, and heart disease. And even not even getting it in the first place. And even if you have it, controlling it so that you don't have the complications that accompany issues with diabetes. So here in the United Kingdom, we have the Blood Pressure UK charity who are working hard to raise awareness, knowing your number. Now, that's the first thing. When you knowing your number, that's knowledge already. So that's potential power. And then knowing the things that you can do to help maintain a healthy number. And by the way, we will put that in the video about what is a normal blood pressure, what is a potential high blood pressure, so you're equipped with that knowledge. And of course, when you know and have those knowledge, it's putting them into actions. And they are simple things that we always talk about on this show. Another episode coming up, we will be looking at the barriers and obstacles to us in our community for reason why we don't engage in physical activity as much as we should, or as much has been recommended to us. So I want to look at this and see what solutions that we can offer or suggest that will get us to move more. So again, that's another episode to watch or look forward to. So when we're talking about diabetes, now which is the next thing I'm going to talk about, talking about type 2 diabetes. Now, when I was doing my research, and shockingly enough, something I kind of suspected, but then when you see it in print, is shocking that young people are having type 2 diabetes. Before, it used to be the type 1 diabetes, which is congenital, you're born with it, occurs in children. But now our young people are having a high incidence of type 2 diabetes, which of course is linked to obesity, inactivity, eating ultra-processed food, and other unhealthy habits that our children are engaging in, and obviously not helping. So here in the UK alone, here's the statistics now. More than 4.3 million people have been diagnosed with diabetes, and almost 1 million people don't even know they have it. That's 5 million people living with diabetes in the United Kingdom alone. And this is hitting our communities harder. The statistics I quoted before was actually for diabetes, that our community, the African and Caribbean people, we are 3 times more likely to develop type 2 diabetes compared to our white brothers and sisters. Yes, like I said, genetics has a role to play, but so do our diet, weight, managing stress, lack of physical activity, and eating high salt foods. But the good news is support is out there. We have Diabetes UK, we have the NHS website, we have our local GPs and online support groups. Internationally, we have an International Diabetes Federation, which is pushing for early diagnosis and better access to care, especially in Asia and in Africa. So if you have a loved one, or you yourself have diabetes, you're not alone. There are resources to help you to make those changes. And like the story of my mother that I mentioned earlier, there's hope. You can put your diabetes in remission and stay healthy. Now back to the third one, which is to do with heart disease and stroke. Worldwide, this is the #1 killer disease, right? And for various reasons. In the United Kingdom, it accounts for 1 in every 4 deaths. So that's about 25% of that is linked to heart disease. That's about 460 people every single day. So in 24 hours, we are losing 460 people to heart disease. That's a lot of people. Now here's a connection. So high blood pressure and diabetes are 2 of the biggest risk factors for heart disease. They are they're part of the same cycle. So when you think about it, let's bring some hope back to this scenario. Whatever is good for, when we talk about saying whatever is good for your heart is also good for your blood pressure, also good for your overall health as well. So whatever we're eating now or doing, when I talk about those modifiable factors, exercise, eating healthy food, maintaining a healthy weight, all of this reduces our risk of these trio diseases. So it's a win-win when you think about it. And not just thinking about it, putting those tips, putting those strategies into action. And like we always say on this program, start small. Start small and be consistent. In the United Kingdom, we have the British Heart Foundation, who does an incredible work on their website. At the moment, there's actually it's past now, but there is an article on the website about more funding going into looking at how a woman's heart is different from a man's, so that whatever medication has been prescribed or should be prescribed to women is more appropriate, because believe it or not, anatomically, women are different from men when it comes to our heart. So they do amazing work raising funds, doing research, supporting family living with heart and circulatory condition. And internationally, we also have the World Heart Foundation also doing amazing work to reduce heart disease, especially in low-income countries where treatment isn't always accessible. So heart disease may be common, but is not unbeatable. So I've talked about our community being hard hit, the hardest. So now, why do African and the BAME community as a whole suffer more from these trio diseases? Yes, we know, I've probably said it like more than 2 times already, that our genes play a part, but lifestyle and our environment plays even a bigger part in this. So think about it. Our traditional foods, our beans, our yam, our lentils, okra, our callaloo, spices, they're all healthy. But modern habits, we've added ultra-processed food to our diet, again, because of our lifestyle. Some families don't have time to sit down and cook a proper meal, let alone sitting down and eating a healthy, balanced meal. The way we eat our white products, white sugar, white flour, white rice, all of these have changed the way we eat. And of course, let's not forget the big one, stress. Financial pressure, working long hours, family responsibilities, both here and abroad, and sometimes the stigma and the silence. And people don't always admit they're unwell. By the time they do, it's advanced. And in some situations, it's fatal, and that's sad. But silence doesn't heal. Knowledge does. So let's continue this conversation. Let's continue this conversation and act on the strategies, on the things we know to do. And if you're not doing them already, it's asking yourself why. Because in asking that question why, then you're able to find the reason. And if you find the reasons why you're not doing it, then you're able to do something. And that's where asking that why question is empowering you to make those healthy changes, to reduce that statistics. You do not want to be one of the statistics of this trio disease. It's all in our hands. So my mother's testimony about having a diabetes in remission. Now, I'm not exactly sure the exact time when she was diagnosed with, diabetes, but like I said, in her 70s, she made that conscious decision with my suggestion to follow a healthier lifestyle. And like I said, she's still doing that up to today. So what did she do? Eating less meat. In fact, she hardly eats meat anymore. Eating more vegetables, some fruit, exercising, drinking enough water, and managing stress and enjoying life. And slowly, with her engaging in all this healthy habits, she was able to reduce her medication and able to put diabetes in remission. So if she can do it, anyone can do it. Bringing me back to the hypertension. One of the episodes that we had on this program, we had a friend of mine who was on high blood pressure medication before, and just by changing her lifestyle, eating more plants, moving more. She was able to, with the cooperation of her doctor, slowly, one day at a time, come off or reduce her medication, and eventually came off her medication, and she's been off her medication since. So it takes that conscious decision of, one, asking that question. Okay, what is stopping me from living that healthy lifestyle? And what can I do once I identify these obstacles? And that, like I said, we will be talking about in a different episode. So stay tuned. So if you're listening today and thinking I am too old to change, well, you are not. My mom is 89, soon to be 90, and she made that change when in her 70s, but you don't have to wait till you're 70, okay? So science confirmed what we've seen in real life. Research shows that just 30 minutes of brisk walking, that is walking fast, 5 days a week, can lower your blood pressure and your blood sugar. And losing just between 5 to 10% of your body fat can also dramatically improve diabetes control. Eating more vegetables and some fruit, whole grains reduces your heart disease by up to a third. But here is a sobering statistics. If nothing changes, the United Kingdom government estimates that by the year 2030, and that's what? Another 5, in fact, less than 5 years from now, 1 in 10 adults will have diabetes. 1 in 10 adults will have diabetes. Now, that's the direction we're heading if we don't make changes. So, with all that being said, what can you do starting today? You know, I like to challenge us on this show. The last time we had a challenge, I think we had about drinking water, having a good sleep hygiene. And again, yes, I am going to challenge us with that again today and some more. First and foremost, check your numbers. What is your blood pressure? What is your blood sugar? And what is your cholesterol number? So that's the first thing you want to do if you don't already know it. And of course, number 2, eat more plants. I always say that, eating more plants. And no, they're not boring. Move more, because your mind, your mental health, and your physical health all depends on us moving, amongst other things that we do. And remember, think about for people that, you know, exercise, and I'm hoping everyone listening does exercise. Some days you're tired, you don't want to do it, but then you manage to do it, even if it's that brisk walking, and you feel good afterwards. It makes you feel good. So that's, you're looking after your mental health that way. I always say with working is 3-in-1. In fact, lately I say it's a 4-in-1 because I'm going for walks, you're getting your fresh air, you're getting that sunshine, and you're getting the exercise. And if you live in a place like I do, you're getting free food, so you're able to pick, you know, plums as you're walking, you're able to pick some blackberries, and yes, don't need to wash it and just eat them straight away. So that's 4-in-1. So if you don't live in a place like I do where you have access to those free food, you still get the 3-in-1. So let's get moving, let's get working. Rest well. Aiming for the amount of sleep that makes you feel refreshed when you wake up the next day. Whether it's 7 hours, whether it's 8 hours, whether it's 9 hours, like some of us like to have, which we don't usually do. Aim for that. Prepare for bed. Have a good sleep hygiene. And of course, with managing stress, goes without saying, we need to manage our stress. However you relax, however you unwind, do it. Manage the stress. I know this may sound easy, rather simple, not necessarily easy, but we have to be intentional. But simple is powerful. Like I said, again, going back to my mom of 89, she is living proof of the impact of this simple lifestyle strategies and solutions. So, what are you going to do today? Like I said, I'm challenging you to know your number, your blood pressure, your sugar, as well as your cholesterol. Have a chat with your doctor. Go for a blood test. If you haven't done your MOT, for people over 40 in the UK, we have the free health check. Engage with that. And if you're over 50, you get sent a package that you are able to, it sounds, well, anyway, they check your colon health. So you pull a pool, they send you a sample to send a poo sample, yes, to check the health of your colon. So you don't have to do that. Well, maybe, but you're not the one testing it. But think about it. You know, we have all of these things. Let's make the most of them. Let's make the most of them. So, and remember, you're not alone. I've mentioned a few organizations like the Blood Pressure UK, the British Heart Foundation, Diabetes UK, World Heart Organization, the International Diabetes Federation, and the World Heart Federation. And, you know, Google is for your friend. Just type in Google, search organizations that's got to do with these three diseases, and make use of the free resources that they have. So you do have the power, and you have the support, and you have the resources, and more importantly, you have the hope. So today I'm reminding us that as much as the statistics are stacked in not so much in our favor about these three diseases, there are things that we can do to change the statistics. And I'm hoping that we will continue, and if we're not already doing that, start with those healthy habits. So in summary, I want to just, again, I've mentioned all those organizations to us, but also globally, the World Health Organization, another fantastic a website for resources, and the International Diabetes Federation, I mentioned the World Heart Foundation. Engage with the resources, use them. Your GP, fantastic. You know, the doctors, they're always usually the first points of contact, aren't they? So use them. Ask those questions. Don't be afraid. And remember, there's hope. And like I always like to end the show with, let's get healthy together by staying healthy. And I've been your host today, Yinka. And until next time, take care.